It is, I think, important to point out first, when we begin this discussion, that police officers risk their lives every single day to do a job that's incredibly dangerous. Just over the weekend, a New York City police officer, Brian Moore, was shot in the head after a man allegedly opened fire on him and another police officer in their unmarked car. We learned today that Officer Moore has died. He was just 25 years old. In 2013, the last year FBI statistics are available, 27 law enforcement officers were killed in the line of duty, and 49,851 were assaulted. The data on how many people police officers kill, that is harder to come by. It's not the total picture, but the FBI does keep records on justifiable homicides by police officers. Since 2009, that number was in the high 300s and low 400s every year, and increased to 461 in 2013. Now, our discussion today is not about bashing police, though some may see it as just that. The discussion is about policing and what needs to change and how. Joining us now is former NYPD captain and current Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, retired NYPD detective Harry Houck. Also joining us is Sabrina Fulton, the mother of Trayvon Martin and founder of the Trayvon Martin Foundation. Trayvon Martin, of course, was shot and killed in 2012 at the age of 17 by George Zimmerman, a Neighborhood Watch volunteer. Mr. Zimmerman was acquitted in the case. Also with us is CNN legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Sunny Hostin. She used to live in Baltimore, as we often point out. She's friends with the mayor, in case we do talk about Baltimore. Mr. Adams, let me start out with you. You and I have talked about this before. You served on the police force here in New York. You're now borough president in Brooklyn. A lot of people I talked to in Baltimore said this isn't necessarily a problem of black and white. This is a problem of blue and how blue, the blue line, interacts in communities of color. I'm wondering what your perception, what needs to change, if anything?
Well, I agree, and I recall when Trayvon was killed, and my colleagues and I, we wore hoods on the Senate floor to symbolize that America needs to take a real look at how we are using this gun culture, number one, but number two, how our police officers are policing our communities. And I think you were right for starting out in the beginning of the program. This is not anti-public safety. I want to live in a safe environment, and I want to raise my son in a safe environment. But clearly across America, we have had two methodologies of policing and using the tools of policing. In some communities, when a police officer leaves the precinct or his station house, he brings out a toolbox of methods of correcting conditions. In one community, he used only the hammer. In another community, he used all the tools: conflict resolution, making sure that you are safe, and your partner is safe, and the citizens are safe. That is the real problem at the heart of what's taking place in policing.
Essentially, you're saying that police differently in an inner city community than they do in a predominantly white or well-off community.
Yes, and because the big problem was our training, for the most part, we like to say in policing that we don't see color, we don't see race, we don't see gender. And that is not honest, and that's not true. You can't continue to have this intoxicated training method and you're waking up drunk and say you don't have a drinking problem. We are intoxicated with ineffective policing in America. Recognize your frailties, recognize that you come to the police department, you come from a society where race and gender plays a role in what we do. Now let's train our police officers to leave that baggage behind and how to police effectively, not based on the baggage you come into a police department with.
Harry, does training need to change?
Well, training definitely needs to change, and to what Eric said, I was never trained to act differently in a high-crime neighborhood or a low-crime neighborhood. All right, I believe that policing is effectively the same everywhere, but in high crime areas, all right, you have to be a little bit more aggressive, because that's where police officers get shot and killed. So police officers need to protect themselves, and that's one of the main reasons. We just saw a police officer killed yesterday.
But is that really true? Because, I mean, in the community I grew up in, right, I remember Policeman Paul was the cop on my corner. I knew him, I talked to him, I assumed, I always just, it was implicit that he was there for my protection. Mm-hmm. In Baltimore, every person I talked to in the neighborhood where violence took place, that's a laughable notion that the police officer is there for, right, they don't know Policeman Paul, or if they do, they don't have a great impression of him.
And that's why I've been a great proponent of having the beat cop come back. I used to be a beat cop in Irvington, New Jersey, back in 1978 before I became the NYPD. I spent 2 years walking the black beat, where an officer was actually assassinated 2 years earlier. All right, I look back at that, where I met all the people on the block. I got to know everybody. I virtually solved every crime on my beat. And when people called 911, they would call for Officer Harry. Right now, we've got police officers just driving into a neighborhood, you know, when something bad happens, making an arrest and then getting out. And that's a problem.
Eric, is it just a matter, though, of training? Because I remember you saying in the past, stuff you learned in the academy, when you got out on the street, you had veteran officers taking you aside and said, forget what you learned in the academy, I'm going to show you how to be real police.
We cannot expect police officers to, in a sterilized, clean environment of a police academy is different from the dirty reality of the streets. How we police now, we police communities based on a numerical minority that commit crimes. When you look at all of these communities that are core high crime, yes, they have social issues and economic issues, but the overwhelming number of people, 99% of them get up every day. They may not go to Wall Street jobs, but they go to basic jobs. But when we go into a community, we look at the encounter that we had with that drug dealer, the encounter we had with a person who shot at a cop. Now we police that entire community. One of the best examples, one of my rookie cops when I was a lieutenant, we went into one of the public housing development and there was urine in the elevator. And he said, look, all these people are disgusting. I said, no, one person pissed in the elevator. Everybody in this building is upset about that. Let's stop treating everyone in the building based on the behavior of the 1% in the community. That is how we police.
And I agree. I mean, I think the bottom line is we are overly aggressively policing communities of color. When I was a prosecutor for the Justice Department in D.C., we had community prosecution. So I was responsible for the 6th District. I knew everyone in the neighborhood. When there was a crime committed, they would come directly to me. That is how you build confidence. But that can't be the only answer. It has to be training. I believe it also has to include body cameras because that will lead to transparency and accountability.
I want to
there are
zero
a lot
in on
of
that
answers.
A little bit later on. Sabrina, you went down to meet with Freddie Gray's family and just be with them in their time of grief. I know you believe what happened in Baltimore, we're going to see more Baltimores. We're going to see, this is not something that just because, you know, people stopped the few people who were committing acts of violence have stopped committing acts of violence and the protests are peaceful. You think we're going to continue to see more cases?
I absolutely do. I think that people are just frustrated. They're upset that it continues to happen and nobody is held accountable. And they want their voices heard. So I think that we're going to see more Baltimore's. We're going to see more protests in New York and Florida and California.
You don't believe it's taken seriously enough when a police officer shoot somebody?
I think we have gotten to a place that we are so nonchalant with a death. I think it's just as if, you know, it's not taken as seriously. When it's a loss of life, I believe that it should be a thorough investigation and somebody should be held accountable. I don't think we should just move on to the next case. And that's what continues to happen. We just move on to the next case. And I think these cases are important. And I think with everything that's happening, we're getting a step closer to equal justice.
I want to bring in Pastor Jamal Bryant, who we met in Baltimore. He's the pastor of the Empowerment Temple Church. He's also president of the Empowerment Movement. Pastor, what do you believe needs to change?
Alcoholics Anonymous says the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. And I think the first thing that the criminal justice system has to do is admit that there is a problem. When you look at the case with Freddie Gray, he is arrested and put into handcuffs and to the vehicle with no charge. And so the question that's still looming is, you're taking him to the precinct to do what if you've not charged him with anything? So the community has a disconnect because we knew growing up, police were cops, citizens on patrol, as the officer intonated, that you know them. This is somebody from the community. Over 47% of the officers in Baltimore don't live in Baltimore. So it's not Officer Paul, it's Officer Stranger. And so there's got to be some kind of reconnect between the police department and the community.